Ahoy and welcome to this week's debacle. That's becoming a bit of a thing now, isn't it? It's one debacle after another. But yeah, so I've always had this question in my head with these power banks that keep getting released. Is it possible to run the entire ship's systems on it? Because you think about it, you have to buy, well, you generally buy a lithium battery, you buy a charger, you buy an inverter, you buy this, you buy that, DC to DC stuff, you buy MPPTs, blah blah blah, and it's all damn expensive. Basically, you're looking at over £1,000 easily. Whereas these power banks basically have everything built in as one. And out of the blue, Aferiy got in touch with me and said, "Hey, look, do you want to have a look at this power bank?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no worries." So the distinguishing feature for me, because they're great to have on board to invert your various things and stuff like that, but what I want to do is run the actual nav lights, the instruments, everything off this battery bank. So what you need is a decent 12-volt output, and the Aferiy that I've got, which is this model here, is exactly that. It has what's called an XT60, I believe, connector, which is 25 amps DC output, which I'll talk about later in the video, but is bang on exactly what I need. So yeah, this is that. I'll stick me unboxing the little bad boy up in the corner there, and we'll have a look at the website. So here is the website. I'll just flick through this and you can pause it to get any information you require. I should have seen that picture of the app. You will see why in the later of the video. But this is the basic parameters of the device, stuff like that. 7-year warranty, all the ports you've got, 4,000 cycle lithium ion, 2,000 watt capacity, and then the natural thing that all websites do of just show you loads of pictures of it being used in loads of ways, which is quite cool because you can use it for absolutely all sorts. None of them show pictures of a boat, but that's absolutely fine because, you know, we do what we do, don't we? So yeah, this actually runs my fridge and my Starlink for around anywhere between a day and a half and 2 days, depending on the temperature, stuff like that. So yeah, feel free to pause any of the information here. It's just a little look at the website. Inbuilt BMS UPS mode. Read more about that because that's a fantastic mode. I think I'll mention it later. Right, let's have a look at the box. So here's a little view of all 4 sides of the doobly dangly. These are the USB outputs all across the front, a couple of A's and 4 C's. You can turn each individual power area on and off, and also do that remotely. The light is a handy dandy feature, especially because you can turn it on remotely. None of this, as you will find out, I knew at the time because I wasn't aware that that app existed until I edited this video, because I'm a fool. So yeah, we've got the cigarette output there, standard 12 volt 5 amps, and then we have this wonderful life-saving XT60, which is going to be the one that powers the entire boat, which is cool. Yeah, it's a really solid feeling piece of kit. She's got some weight to her. The other side, this is the inverter side. You can see there the cooling fans. I've only ever heard those run when the power bank has been depleted and I'm charging at 1800 watts or whatever the maximum charge rate is. You can actually modify the charge rate, so you can just charge it at 500 watts, which is probably better for the batteries, so I think I'll do that in the app as well. But yeah, there's the outputs and stuff like that. You get 3 sockets. That flap, if you're confined in space, isn't actually removable unless you accidentally break it off, which totally hasn't happened. Looking at the back, it's got some of the key figures there, and I'll blank out the serial number because that's probably the best thing to do, because I quite like to register the warranty. Yeah. Moving on to the other side, we have the AC in and the DC in, which you can use from a cigarette lighter. It's basically, it'll take DC inputs up to a maximum of 50 volts and 500 watts, which is super cool, which is where you'd plug your solar panels into, and the other side of the cooling fans there. So yeah, that is the box. Now that we've had a little looky-loo, I like the idea of this. So yeah, let's have a look at what I'm actually going to use these things for. So first of all, the XT60 connection is 25 amp output. Therefore, I'm going to run from this through the boat to my 12 volt panel. So this then will supply all the 12 volt for the boat. Obviously I'm going to have one running from the battery bank into here in case there's a failure. I can switch back over to the original batteries. That's no problem. Nothing on my boat is going to exceed a total of 25 amps. I've gone to LED lights. I'm going to go to LED nav lights, and then there'll be the autopilot. Everything else is absolutely fine. So 25 amps will run the full boat, with the exception of my fridge. But I have a 10 amp cigarette lighter outlet here. Therefore, I'll plug my fridge into this one and run that up forwards to wherever I put the fridge once I've cleared everything. And that's that one taken care of. I don't have a use for these yet, although I'm sure I will find one. The USB stuff, I'm going to I'll tell you where I'm going to put this first. I'm going to put it on the floor under there, which is where the outlet for my shore power is. Then I can just have this plugged into the shore power and charging. I'm going to 3D print a little doodad to stick on there and have my USB cables coming up and clipped into the doodad. That's the plan. So I can have all my charging done here at the table and all the rest of it. Ideal. Now, that also means I can run my air fryer and my hob and everything from these outlets when I'm on the hook, and I can pass them through when I'm alongside. So that is utterly awesome. And then the good thing about this is this XT90 here can take solar panels directly into it. You don't need an MPPT, it's built in, provided it doesn't exceed 50 volts and doesn't exceed 500 watts. So effectively I can just plug solar panels straight into this, which is incredible. And then the AC input there. It's a heavy thing. I think there is around 40 amp hours at 50 volts. Another key thing, the batteries in here. Oh, I can see myself. I don't know. The batteries in here are parallel series, blah blah blah, and run at 50 volts. That means you can charge it quicker because the amperage is lower, which is pretty cool. It's why this thing can charge from 0 to 100 in 2 hours instead of 10 hours. So that is really good. And why it can also take 50 volts in the side there. So yeah, that is it for looking at it. You can see the screen, you can see how much power you're using, time remaining, and your percentage. Yeah. So this effectively stops me having to put in lithium batteries, a charger, an inverter, a DC to DC, this, that, blah blah blah. All sorted now. I just run it off this. Absolutely superb. Yeah. So I'm going to start getting this set up in situ and start plugging a few things into it, and we'll have a look how it goes. I wish you got 100 watts power delivery here over USB-C. I wish my laptop took power over USB-C, but it doesn't. Maybe when I'm a grown up and get a proper laptop it will do, but yeah, that would be so cool to just run the laptop directly off this as well, instead of having to basically invert DC to AC for it then to go back to DC to go into the laptop at 19 volts, which is unfortunate. But yeah, that's my laptop's fault. It's certainly not this thing's fault. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in situ, see how we get on with it. Alright, now we've had a little look around, let's have a look at the implementation. So what I've done now is I've fit it into this little corner here, which it actually fits against there quite perfectly. which was lucky. I've now plugged it into the mains. This is the only shore power socket I've got on the boat, which was a bit of a faff before, but now it's irrelevant. So this is plugged in and it is charging there, you can see, at about 1100 watts. So that's going to charge up. Now the good thing about this is it has an AC pass-through mode where it just acts as a UPS. So any AC that I plug into it now, i.e. my air fryer and all the rest of it, when I use those, it just passes the AC straight through without going through the battery and the inverter first. Which is a boon, because that means that you're not constantly putting effort on that inverter all the time. So it's just a direct pass through, and then 10 milliseconds, if the power cuts out, it'll transfer over to the inverter. There is a wattage limit. I believe it's 2,200 watts limit on the pass through. So yeah, I don't think I can use the air fryer and the hob at the same time, just not with the hob on full power, which is fine because that hob on 2,000 watts just burns things anyway. So yeah, that's the part 1 of the plan. Part 2 of the plan next will be to use the XT60 connector. I've just ordered some of those to take 12 volt from here and run it forwards and power the ship systems. This DC one is a cigarette lighter. I've just been and got my fridge, which is sat just over there. I'm going to run my fridge into the forward cabin and then plug that into there. What else is there? And then basically I'm good to go. The entire ship systems are done. I've just bought a load of extra wires and stuff to get stuff going, which is cool. Yeah, about as easy as it gets, really. Plug it in and now my boat's ready. So I'm now going to run a plug and set of sockets from here, which can be plugged into the battery, the AC side of this, run it around and put it over for the galley when I remake the galley. That'll do my air fryer and my hob, and that's basically it. I have my trusty old power bank, which I will most likely plug into a separate socket and mount on the wall there. That'll give me all my 240, which realistically I only actually use for my laptop. The Starlink is plugged in with that at the minute, but now I can transfer the Starlink over to USB-C, run that directly from here. That will then go out the back and to the pole that the wind generator was on. A few people have said, why don't you keep the wind generator? I don't know if it works or not. It's just a faff. They generate virtually no power. It's great if you're leaving it on a mooring buoy to keep the batteries topped up, but in actual use I couldn't sleep with that running. I can't sleep if somebody else in the marinas is running. So yeah, that's not for me. I have misophonia, so noises like that just do me in. Yeah, so we'll see if we can run my air fryer on this and make some steaks. I had people say, why don't you leave the gas cooker in as well? Well, that's fine, but the gas cooker was absolutely rotten. All the jets were knackered on it. So it had to go, and I can't afford another one. I've already got an induction hob, so that's what I'm using. Yeah, next up on the list will be to wire in the fridge, which I will show you once that's done, and then wire in the 12 volt system, which will be quite interesting. One potential negative I've found about using this system is that the Aferiy does have a timer on it, cut off if it has used, I'm not sure of the exact numbers, but basically if it's used no powers for X amount of time, then it will cut off because it thinks you don't need it. So that could be an issue if it's running all the boat systems and, you know, you go out off the boat and you come back and you can't turn the lights on, you've got to turn it on first. But realistically, I don't think it was ever envisioned for this usage, so that's fine. However, if I'm running my fridge, that's cycling on and off all the time, so that will keep it woke. Keep it woke, right? Hi, Future Terry here. Yeah, it turns out that was an issue, and the power bank kept cutting out all the time, which was rendering it completely useless to me in order to run the power system. However, read the instructions. Where's my phone gone? Oh. They have an app. So it's called Bright EMS. I should really record my screen. Let me record my screen. Stand by one. So this is the app. You can see that I've called it Jalingo after my boat, and if I click on that, it should just connect to the doobie. So here you can see a little infographic that my total output at the minute is 70 watts. I have AC coming in, and that is passing straight through to the AC out. It is not going to the battery, which means the battery isn't constantly charging, and the battery is just discharging for my DC stuff, which at the minute is 70 watts. I have my USB switched on because that's charging something, the AC switched on and the DC switched on. What's quite good here is I can actually switch the light on as well from here, which may be useful if I'm coming back to the boat at night, something like that. But here in the settings, under standby time, I've switched them all to never turn off, which basically has fixed the issue. So yeah, read the instructions, go look at the app, stuff like that. There's all sorts of little stuffy stuff that you can do on there. So yeah, that's the app. Back to past me. That's where she's living. I will of course create some straps for this and strap it down. I may get a different cable. That's a straight in cable. I might get a 90-degree one so I can move it further over, but the solar input is also on this side, so the XT90 connector will have to go on this side. I suppose I could just remove this. No, we're not doing that. Yeah, that's the next job. I'm going to get some other stuff plugged into it, and then we'll show you that next bit. Alright, it's actually been 2 weeks since I made those last videos, and there have been some changes. I thought I want to really sort of get into the bones of this thing before I recommend it for one, and before I actually use it for what I want to use it for two. And you'll be happy to know that I am using it for what I want to use it for. You will notice that it isn't there. I didn't like the position in the end, and what it also meant is that the distance from here to the electrical board over there was about 4 meters, which means heavy gauge wire to get 24 amps without too much of a voltage drop. So bring the mountain to whatever that phrase is. I did try it here for a little bit because I don't have a cushion there, but I didn't like that either. And she now lives tucked away just in there. So my shore power is coming in here. The air fryer is plugged directly into the shore power while I'm ashore, and then the Aferiy is plugged into here, which remains charged all the time. The white plug is my Starlink. That's going to come out and be changed to USB-C when I put it out the back. The other plug just comes down to this little thing for the time being, which is basically all I need. And you will notice the black and red wires there. They're coming out of the XT60 connector, which is 25 amp, and that runs around here and into here, and is currently powering the entire boat, all from that power bank, which is good. That means I can monitor the wattage, monitor how much battery I've got, everything else on the big old screen. The cigarette lighter above it, that runs forward to my fridge in the forward cabin there, which is full of meat at the minute because I'm doing a meat diet. It's not really a diet, I just love meat. Anyway, yeah, what do I feel about it? Well, with no input, it will run the Starlink and the fridge for about 30 hours, there or thereabouts, which doesn't sound a lot, but I intend to have an input with it, i.e. solar. So the position that it's in now, over there by the chart table, ideal for getting solar cables to it, right near to all the rest of the electrics, everything else, so I'm really happy with it there. The only downside is, if we look, it just sort of overlaps the chart table by about 2 inches, which means I can't lift this lid up easily, but that's all fine. This won't be here anymore. I've decided to get a cushion made for here, and I'm going to have this as a little officey desk thing for making videos, which means I won't need the table to be out all the time, which is frustrating at times. So yeah, that's the grandiose plan. I'm going away hopefully in 2 weeks if I ever get the boat ready. You may already know about my diesel issues. That's gone to a whole new level. So yeah, the tank's away at the minute. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I ran my air fryer directly from the Aferiy. Excuse me. One oversight is that my air fryer is actually 2.4 kilowatts because it's a double one. So it's right on the edge of what it can do, and it will run it, and it has run it. However, if I have the fridge and everything plugged in as well, it takes it over its 2.4 kilowatt output, and it'll trip it. But you would hope that it would, really, if you're asking for more power than it's allowed to give. So yeah, that's all fine. But the good thing about my air fryer is that I can put the separator down the middle and operate on one side at 1200 watts, which is what I'd do if I was away. And you can cook enough food for one person in there anyway, so pretty irrelevant. I was looking at this combination microwave air fryer thing, which does it all and comes in under 2000 watts, but apparently it's garbage, so I'll not bother. Yeah, that is the Aferiy. I'm super happy with it. It's neat, it's tidy, it's got in the inverter built in. I'm going to plug my, this is a battery charger, I'm going to plug my battery charger into that to the main batteries, which aren't doing anything now other than starting. I may switch the autopilot onto the original batteries, because really I'll only be the tiller pilot one. Really I should only be using that when the engine's running anyway. I've sourced a new alternator. Very nice man from across the way. I don't like giving out personal details, but the very nice man from across the way had a spare alternator, and he said, here, get it. Although before I take that, I have noticed that there is a broken bulb in there on a white wire, which is white, that comes from the alternator. Maybe it's as simple as that brake isn't giving it the signal on the, what's the one that goes in, the signal to make it do something, whatever that. So yeah, we'll see. Aferiy, I'll leave a link to the website down below. They've given me an affiliate link where I get some money if you buy it, but you know, I'm not bothered about that really. I just think you should go and buy it, so I probably won't even put that link on. Yeah, it's bloody awesome, you know. With the solar, the fact that it can do 30 hours running everything, because I've gone to LED lights and all the rest of it, so the actual ship's power is negligible. It's probably 100 watts if I have everything switched on, which is not a lot. So yeah, I expect the fact that it will last 30 hours means that with solar coming in during the day, that'll be big enough to do me for the foreseeable future. I can always do something else in the future, but for the time being I am over the moon, absolutely over the moon. It is doing everything for me. So yeah, I obviously need to find a way to bolt it all down and get it all safe before I actually go anywhere, but that's not an issue. It's on quite a solid piece of wood, so I can just bolt down through that. So yeah, that's Aferiy. Go visit the website, have a look. There's a massive discount on the minute. They're like half price, and yeah, I'm super happy with it. So make your own mind up, but I recommend it. It's cool as all hell. Yeah. See you later. Oh, I didn't do that thing.